to take you through the newspaper front pages. Let's start off with the Daily Trust this morning. On the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, the big story says, Zamfara community under siege as bandits strike. Yet again, we'll talk about whether Nigeria is a failed or failing state. These are some of the indices to explore. Military vehicles, police outpost burned. 3 persons killed, 16 abducted. State government to hire 4,200 security guards. That's the interesting update that we're seeing on the front page of the Daily Trust. Still on the front page, Afenifere raises alarm over rising kidnappings in Southwest. I don't know, I'll come back to talk about that. I don't know if you saw the story of the young man who unfortunately was kidnapped. Asked for 5 million naira ransom and went ahead to still kill him. I saw another update. I cannot confirm that yet, but a whole music band, the whole team was kidnapped. I saw that last night. Ripples over appointment of 132 liaison officers for Kano local government areas. NMA gives federal government 45-day ultimatum to review doctors' salaries. There's an editorial here. What does the World Bank want from Nigeria? That's only a question that can be answered. What does the World Bank want from Nigeria? And experts, unions differ over federal government's plan to restructure TCN. And now let's come back to the story of the Nigeria Medical Association giving the federal government a 45-day ultimatum to review doctors' salaries. 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation here with Mr. Ntiak, who's also a medical doctor, and he shared with us some of the challenges that the medical profession is facing, especially as regards mass migration of the medical doctors. Some of the factors that were put into consideration was not just the poor salaries of the doctors, the fact that a number of them had to witness avoidable deaths, which then led to depression on their part, because all the things that they needed to be able to function as well-trained doctors were not made available to them. We, of course, made reference to the story of Dr. Waire, who unfortunately lost her life in the elevator. Investigations were made, but there's no guarantee that that won't happen to another doctor who'll be working somewhere, living on what floor and not have access to an elevator, or who have an accident and never have access to emergency services. So we did a comparative analysis. Ms. Antia helped us do a comparative analysis between what they're earning here and what the doctors are being paid in, for example, Saudi Arabia, London, and America. So it's a really tough call to see what exactly is happening here. There's been calls for doctors to return to Nigeria, but I don't know if they will heed that call, because
I think the call really is, Nigeria's health budget and how much we're investing in healthcare. If we have more money to invest in healthcare, we probably would have better equipment and better salaries. But I mean that's the level of interest Nigeria has. Same thing with teachers. Same thing with police.
Yes.
Mr. Bode Gbadebo joins us this morning. He's the online editor at the Leadership Newspapers. Good morning, Mr. Gbadebo. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and also good morning to your African audience. It's my pleasure, as usual.
Thanks for joining us. Let's probably just get you to share your thoughts. It seems like we're starting to see more and more security reports or insecurity reports across the country. The Daily Trust this morning saying Zamfara community under siege as bandits strike. There's also something you shared about kidnapping in the Southwest, I believe. Yes, Afenifere raises alarm over rising kidnappings in Southwest.
And just not to forget the part that says state government to hire 4,200 security guards. Yeah, doesn't that sound a bit off?
Yeah, Mr. Gbadebo, do you think, are we wrong for feeling that there seems to be an increase? Or it has always been there?
You're not wrong. You're right. Of course, except we want to deceive ourselves. The rate of insecurity is on the high side. And that is why President Bola Tinubu actually needs to walk his talk. He needs to do something quite drastic, fast, before the matter will degenerate into something else. Now, you will recall that the immediate past government of Muhammadu Buhari actually inherited insecurity from former President Goodluck Jonathan. But then, the insecurity at that time was restricted to Northeast. But by the time Buhari came on board, it escalated to parts of the country. And that is what Tinubu also inherited. In the case of Tinubu, what we are saying is that nothing has reduced. It's also on the high side. So we need to know what is in that Renew Hope agenda. as regard insecurity, because they've been going to places touting renewed hope, renewed hope, renewed hope agenda. So what is in that renewed hope agenda? They have 8 pillars, 8 cardinal objectives in that agenda. So tell us the details about security, how you intend to tackle insecurity, so that Nigerians can sleep with their 2 eyes closed. But they're not about sleeping alone. There can be development in an atmosphere of chaos. So with insecurity, there won't be development, whether in the economy, social sector, and the rest of them, because investors will run away. A lot of things will happen. And of course, you know what that means. So they need to tell us what they are doing and how they intend to do it, to nip this in the bud and to put a stop.
Very true. And of course, you can't be expecting your economy to grow if you can't secure, the country. There's not going to be any local investment, neither will foreign investors come. No matter how many times you travel abroad to beg them to come and invest in Nigeria, the country needs to feel safe, to some extent. All right, hopefully we, might stop by and talk about security again in other papers. Let's move to another newspapers this morning and also get your thoughts on what's coming right next. Now, let's go to the leadership newspapers this morning. The big story there says insecurity once again concern as safe schools initiatives gets zero budget. That's on the leadership. Safe schools initiative gets zero budget. UN, World Bank, EU express worry. Nigeria mom. And also 168 Zamfara schools remain shut as CSOs. Fintech. Nigerians lose 51 billion naira to cyber criminals. And also Gaza war, Israel-Palestine commit to peaceful coexistence. Also this morning, Rivers, APC formally receives 25 pro-Wike lawmakers. The show continues. I was going to call it some other thing, but I shouldn't. Lassa fever killed 200 in 2023, says Disease Control Center. Indigenous oil producers seek review of PIA. And I think Kano State, no deal to compromise court judgment, says the APC. Mr. Gbadebo, let me start with your thoughts on what's going on in Rivers State. From commissioners resigning to House of Assembly members defecting to
demolition.
Of course, a demolished House of Assembly complex, to, of course, a budget being passed even without a House of Assembly complex, to now, of course, a leaked document showing a court ruling that is purportedly meant to be given. It's a show of shame, actually. I think I can call it that. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think anything is new as regards the happiness in Rivers State. Nothing is new. We have seen similar things in Plateau State under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. We've seen similar things in Adamawa State. We've seen similar things in my own native Oyo State. Remember when the then governor was there, Chief Rashidi Ladoja, remember? So,
yes.
A lot of things in a similar fashion, how, impeachment proceedings were masterminded to forcefully remove an elected governor from office and the attendant dramas. Now, the current one is Rivers, yes, and it has a lot of implication. The world is watching, and they'll be imagining, these people we are supporting, these people we are giving our money to, is this how they're going to practice democracy? Is that how democracy is all about? Definitely no. So something need to be done, because if the Rivers crisis is allowed to snowball into full-scale violence, it will have concomitant effect on a lot of things. Rivers, remember, is a major oil-bearing state. It will have implication for security. It will have implication for oil production. And you know how much we rely on this oil to fund our budget. It means the projections for the execution of the 2024 budget will not be realistic again. And that's why the political gladiators, the people concerned, maybe President Tinubu too is also concerned. I wouldn't know whether directly or indirectly. In fact, he's concerned. He needs to call one of the major actors into order. His own appointee, the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, he needs to call him to order. Then the Rivers State governor also needs to understand the law and need to also operate within the ambit of the law. Now, talking about the demolition of the House of Assembly, They've told us the reason. I am in Abuja, I am not in Rivers, you are in Lagos. We carried the news that the assembly was attacked with dynamite. And with that, it has failed. The building, the structures there have all failed integrity tests. No longer safe for human, habitation or usage. So for that, they are pulling it down to build another one. That excuse is very, very tenable. And in the meantime, the government of the state government provided an alternative venue for the State House of Assembly to sit. That was where the governor presented the 2024 budget to the assembly, and they also, considered the budget. So nothing is new, but something needed to be done to put a stop to the Makeba dance, to the show of shame, like you rightly described.
Well, you would call it a show of shame if we can categorically state that the people who are the lead players have any shame. When it comes to Nigerian politicians, many would argue that they don't have shame. Let's look at the last paper for this morning. This is Nigeria newspaper. On the front page of This is Nigeria, the big story we're seeing here is bleak Christmas for Nigerians. Our citizens shun festive trips, complain of cutthroat transport fares and insecurity everywhere. IPPIS don't shy away from proper funding of education, NAAT tells federal government. Lassa fever, 200 deaths recorded in Nigeria in 2023, says NCDC. Serap sues INEC over non-prosecution of off-season poll election offenders. NDLEA recovers South Africa-bound 1.5 million tramadol Rohypnol pills at Lagos Airport. Seizes convicted Baron's mansion and arrests grandma. We saw her on social media. People were calling her the Teresa Mendoza of Lagos. Those who have seen Queen of the South will get the association. Corporate begging rises as economy bites harder. Let's talk about this bleak Christmas. Osarogie always talks about how we miss the spirit of Christmas, the spirit we all had growing up. The Harmattan festivities. There's just a certain joy in the air. You can't say what it is. Even now, Harmattan is struggling to come. So talk to us about this bleak Christmas where Nigerians started out the year buying fuel at 185 naira to the litre. But at this point, they're buying fuel at 620 naira to the litre in some places and even more. And there are projections that it will increase. Yeah. Projections are that inflation will hit 30% before the end of the year. How bleak is this Christmas? How did we even get here as a nation?
God. You also scared me when you said even the Harmattan is struggling to come. Maybe against the backdrop that of the economic situation in Nigeria. But then, Nigerians are wonderful people. We are used to this. We will continue to weather the storm. That's why the headlines, bleak Christmas and the rest of them, this is not the first time you are seeing such headlines. And Nigerians, the Christmas will come and go, the Eurotime will come and go, and Nigerians will still do the normal. You imagine it. Maybe there is this popular saying, this common saying that there is no money, there is no money. So where did they get the money from? People will still travel, people will still go about to do what they plan to do from the beginning of the year at the end of the year. Wedding ceremonies, burials, all these kind of social things.
Fact,
you see it coming, people will still spray money.
Unfortunately, what we even see, yesterday I spent about 3 hours in traffic within Lekki. That's evidence that people are going out a lot more and turning up. Yeah. But as much as we're complaining about how bleak it is, that's not the reality for everybody, if we're being honest. Exactly. Some people are still having the time of their lives. And, those at the lower end of the ladder are being hit the hardest. Mr. Gbadebo, we've run out of time for the newspaper reviews, but we thank you for always showing up for us, and we look forward to having you join us again.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure as usual.